17. Snipers. Some may quickly counter that snipers account for the rotation of the Earth. The claim is nonsense, and many military professionals have declared the same. But more importantly, you can go online and read the actual sniper manuals for the Army Special Forces Sniper Training, Army Sniper Training, U.S. Navy SEAL Sniper Training, U.S. Army Special Operations, and the Marines. Despite popular belief, there is no sniper adjustment for the purported Coriolis effect. Again, a huge proof of the stationary Earth and more proof that popular media has lied to us. Exhibit 18, the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty is an important proof of the flat Earth because it evinces an intentional and multinational effort to prevent people from determining what's beyond the 60th south parallel and Antarctica. In short, independent travel is not allowed or outside of the 60th south parallel, and that hides the flat Earth. Under the general concept of the flat Earth, Antarctica is the likely shoreline of the world's oceans. North is in the middle, south is in every direction towards the outside of the circle. You can see that here on this flat Earth map from 1587 from Urbano Monti and this 1892 Gleason map, both of which came out long before the Antarctic Treaty. Because of this, Antarctica is the one area that would prove the flat Earth model correct. Coincidentally, no independent travel is allowed below the 60th south parallel. This isn't a theory, it is a well-established fact. The Antarctic Treaty, its handbook, and its enforcement protocols, which have remained inviolate for 60 years, and include signatories like the US, North Korea, China, and the former Soviet Union, essentially ban any reasonable attempt to explore below the 60th south parallel under the guise of protecting the environment. Think of what has happened in the last 60 years. The Antarctic Treaty survived Vietnam and all of the Cold War despite the claim that Antarctica is rich in minerals, including coal, oil, and uranium. Were the Soviets really that interested in protecting penguins and the environment? I think the Romanian people would have a hard time believing that about the Soviet Union. It's ludicrous. Yes, Romania ratified the Antarctic Treaty on September 15, 1971. Don't your alarm bells go off when you hear that this huge swath of land, which is also the highest continent in the world, is off limits to independent exploration by people like you and I? Yes, they will claim you can independently go, but they are lying. The amount of red tape and other intentional restrictions that you would have to jump through is impracticable, and they know it, and the borders of Antarctica are patrolled by all signatory nations. Of course, there are token explorations along the ice shelf, and there are a few destination spots that you are not allowed to venture from, but that entire section of the world is off limits to independent travel. This doesn't happen unless they are hiding something big from us. If you would like to know more on the subject, go and watch this video I made. You can find it on the Globebusters channel. So telling we flat earthers to take a picture of the edge or the dome, if there is any, is a ruse because nobody is allowed to independently travel below the 60th south parallel, and that fact is proof of the flat Earth. Exhibit 19. Lack of north-south circumnavigation. East-west circumnavigation is very possible on the flat Earth, but what isn't possible on the flat Earth is north-south circumnavigation. In particular, under the generally accepted flat Earth model, it appears as though you can't, for example, fly from the tip of South America, traverse Antarctica, and then make your way up to Australia or South Africa. That would be the shortest route. So guess what doesn't happen in real life? North-south circumnavigation. Below the 60th south parallel is completely devoid of all flights, and the vast majority of southern hemisphere flights first go to the northern hemisphere before traveling back down to the southern hemisphere. The routes are a joke. There are a few who claim they have completed a north-south circumnavigation trek, but the claims are ludicrous, most often referring to flights that turn around once they get to Antarctica and full of other fraudulent indices. Hundreds of thousands of flights east-west, and only a few highly questionable north-south circumnavigation claims. Come on, alarm bells should be going off because this wouldn't happen on a globe. Exhibit 20, the eclipse. The lunar eclipse is very often raised as the key proof of the globe, but it actually doesn't help the heliocentric cause at all. First, there's the well-documented Selenelian. This is video of one that happened on January 20th, 2019. There's the lunar eclipse above the horizon, and there's the sun above the horizon. A selenelian is where a lunar eclipse occurs when both the sun and the moon are both above the horizon, which means there is no alleged Earth between the sun and the moon that could cause a shadow on the moon. That's geometrically impossible, and the official explanation of refraction is ludicrous as it causes a cascade of problems with other actual observations. Next, the shape of the eclipse is wrong. A shadow of a sphere on a sphere does not make a curve like this. You just have to think about it. A curve on a curve is distorted. Third, the color a lunar eclipse produces is reddish. Can you produce a red shadow here on Earth? No, it's impossible, and again, the official explanation regarding sunsets and sunrises on Earth appearing on the moon is shockingly ridiculous. Finally, very often the lunar eclipse comes from the wrong direction, like in this video. Under the official model, the shadow should always come from the bottom and rise up. Instead, you'll often have lunar eclipse shadows come from top to bottom, again belying the globe model. The solar eclipse is a strong proof of the flat Earth. First, notice that the sun and the moon are the same size. That's a statistical impossibility under the globe model. Now look at the size of the shadow. The moon is supposed to have a diameter of 2,159 miles. Then why is the shadow of the moon only 70 miles across during a solar eclipse? These are all proofs that the sun and the moon are much more local than claimed.